Thank you for listening and welcome to the Life Podcast, a proud member of the Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network. I'm your host, Don Smith. Actors Champ Moore and Jaja Smith join me in the studio to talk about their upcoming projects. We talk about acting and comedy and some adventures with fake blood. If you enjoy the show, like and follow the Life 1069 on Facebook and Don Smith Comedy on Twitter, or tune in live on Wednesdays from noon to 2 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream the show live at wwsu1069.org.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
All right, it is Wednesday. It is just a little bit afternoon. We're close to on time. Close to on time is usually the way I run this show. It's time for the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith. I'm going to go ahead and we'll just start right off and introduce the two gentlemen that are in the studio with me. Dave Moore is back. Champ back in the do you still go by Champ?
It's still the stage name.
Still the
yes,
stage name? Okay. Well, he's sitting across from me and off to the side because we have a broken mic where the other guest usually sits. I'm not sure what they get up to in here. Well, that one kept going limp. And with lack of Viagra, they just decided to detach it. Because sometimes you reach a certain age and you might as well just try to replace it because it's not gonna stay where it should be. My other guest sitting off to the side of me, which is going to keep causing me to turn around and talk away from the mic, so my volume's going to go up and down. Jaja Smith. Hey,
brother.
Good man. Yeah. No relation, I don't think.
Never say never.
Never say. You never know. That is absolutely true. It could be somewhere down the line.
I see similarities.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
So, what are we doing here? No, I'm kidding.
What are we talking about?
I want to start off telling a little story about because we're all actors. Mm-hmm. Well, sort of. I'm sort of an actor. No, I've been working on a show lately. It's a secret show with Henrik. I can't say too much about it. But the weekend before this past weekend, we were doing some filming. It was my first time on set for this project, and it was actually we were filming my death scene.
Ooh.
Which was kind of cool because here I am. I'm made up in character as this, at the end of it, I'm just pale as can be because I was scared to death is how I died. And so I'm
you
just
spoiling something?
Yeah,
spoiling
just
something?
No.
Okay. All right.
It's nobody listens to this. It's okay. But I was wearing that. It was kind of cold out that day, so I was wearing on the way home. I get in the car and I'm wearing my it was this black trench coat or big overcoat, big wool overcoat that comes down almost to my feet. So I'm looking like the Undertaker walking out of here. And I get home, and rather than use my key to open the door, I knock on the door to make my wife look out the window to see the Undertaker standing there in his long black coat.
Tear down over the face.
She was a little mad at me.
Yeah,
creepy.
long conversation.
Last weekend, we're finishing up this scene, and we're running, basically several hours, about 7 hours. I'm running through the woods in the cold, in the mud. I get home, I'm covered with mud. I got fake blood all over my hand from a character injury. Ooh. And I get home, tired as can be, and the wife says, "I want to go somewhere nice for dinner." It's like I'm covered in fake blood and mud. We want to go somewhere nice for dinner. So I said, okay, I hop in the shower real quick. I wash as much of the mud off as I can. We get kind of dressed up. We go out. I'm wearing this long black coat again. We're standing in line waiting to get a table at this Italian restaurant. Yep. And I look down, I notice there's still a bunch of fake blood on my hand that I missed, because that stuff's kind of hard to get off.
Yeah.
So I go into the men's room, and I'm washing this fake blood. It's all on my knuckles. I'm washing this off in the sink. I got this big, long, black trench coat on, and I'm starting to think of how this looks in an Italian restaurant of all places. Fellow walks into the bathroom, looks down at my hand in the sink where I'm washing this blood off. I look up in the mirror. He looks up, and our eyes meet through the mirror, and I'm keeping as straight a face as I can, and he just nods, backs slowly out of the room and closes the door.
Couldn't have been any better. Couldn't have been any better.
It was so hard to keep a straight face as he was backing out. I was like, I'm going to lose it any second.
Hurry up. Get out of here.
As soon as the door closed, I started laughing. I'm thinking, he's going to go tell his wife, we got to get out of here.
The mafia's in this restaurant.
Yep, this is a very authentic Italian place, I tell you. So much fun. I love fake blood stories because you tell these to people that don't act, and they can't believe that this is something that happens to you.
Really can happen.
One of the other scenes I was doing, it had been a couple years ago with Henrik. I was wearing a suit and tie, and at one point we were doing like an overly bloody, almost like a Quentin Tarantino Kill Bill scene where I'm just like covered in fake blood. Well, when I get ready to leave, I throw all my blood-soaked clothes in the back of my truck. Well, when I get home that night, I thought I took them all out of there, and I got to be at work at 7 o'clock the next morning. Right. So I'm driving to work in the morning, and I keep seeing something in the rearview mirror flapping. I'm like, what the hell is that? I get to work, and I look, and a blood-soaked tie is hanging off the back of the truck. I'm like, that would have been great if that flew off and landed on a police cruiser.
Good luck explaining that one.
You got yourself in some situations.
Absolutely.
All acting.
Yes,
All
yes,
from
yeah.
acting.
Gotta love it.
That's the fun of it, isn't it?
It is.
Who else gets to have those experiences?
Fake blood on you. Looks real.
Oh, yeah.
Get away with murder.
Oh,
That's how you get away with it. I'm an actor.
That's how OJ got away with it. He was
Twice.
he was he was just acting.
She was just the best actor out of the two.
Exactly. Yeah. That's she. Yep. She was very committed to the role. That's what it was.
Wow.
All right, we've gone off the rails very early on the show, which is not it's not a record by any stretch of the imagination. We'll go ahead and we'll let you guys talk for a minute and tell some of your stories. I know you got some projects you wanted to mention, Dave, and Jaja's involved in those.
Yeah. I was on the show back in July, so thank you for having me again. And
hey, no problem.
And Jaja, we were part of a project with Zach Gaynor and Ryan Koenig called The Problem of Evil, and that's what I had talked about before. I played a character, Anthony, who he kind of was one of those guys that didn't understand a situation. He was just trying to get out. Like I said, it was something I don't want to spoil or say too much. The guys, I talked to the directors, and they kind of told me that they're in the process of scoring the film at the moment, and they are finished filming, but they're planning for it to go into film festivals fall of 2018 and then summer of 2019. So I got that information, and there was a scene where Jaja's character actually got to frighten me, and it was pretty. Yeah, it was one of those where it really startled me. It's a good feeling when you can always make it look real on camera, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Just like the fake blood.
The fake blood, yeah, what
real.
we started with. So,
and that was, what was the name of it again?
The Problem of Evil.
Problem of Evil. Yeah. We
talked about that. Yep, a couple months ago. So now I just wanted to keep it updated in the loop about what kind of just to look for and just kind of how the project's going. Keep it
now,
updated.
Is this feature length or is this a short?
Yeah, it's
length?
featured.
Okay.
It's featured length. I think that they're probably looking at the script, if I remember correctly, because I've seen so many scripts since then. It was probably 75 pages or so. So probably looking at an hour and a half, hour 20 minutes with this film.
Yeah, it's a good runtime.
So,
yeah, it's easier to sell an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes. Yeah. The one I was in over the summer ended up being like an hour and 59 minutes because he had to cut it down.
Oh, really?
It was, I guess, finished. It was almost 3 hours long because originally it was supposed to be a two-parter. And a lot of this is for 6 Feet Below Hell with William Lee, which is still out in Redbox. But if you haven't seen 6 Feet Below Hell, get out to Redbox tonight or through the weekend, rent it and watch it. You'll love it. If not, I'll give you your $1.
It's a Christmas gift, right?
It's a Christmas. It's a Christmas zombie movie. So
doesn't get any better than that.
Exactly. But no, that was supposed to be a two-parter, but he wasn't able to sell it to Redbox as a two-parter.
Oh,
So he had to cut it down because one of the scenes for that, I get to run through the woods in the mud a lot. But one of the scenes for that, we spent 9 hours on set, and I'm running through the woods in the mud uphill, killing myself. I about broke my foot. I was walking with a limp for like the next 3 weeks after shooting this, and every bit of that footage had to be cut.
Oh, man.
You all owe me a new foot.
So much fun, though.
Good.
Well, what about you, Jaja? How long you been acting?
So I've been in the acting game for about 6 years now.
Oh, okay.
Prior to working with Dave, I was in a web series called Quarter Water Juices. That's how I got my start in the industry. So this film is a bit of an urban opera. The focus was the story of the director's life with a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a darkness to it. Got a little bit of a spin on it. I played the character Anthony. I was the older brother to Joey, and Anthony, he kind of had a bit of a womanizer aspect to him, where he was a player, but behind all that, he was still the older brother to his brother. When his brother needed him, he was there because their dad was gone, so he had to do something. And then post that, I got into touch with Dave, and The Problem of Evil. It was a last minute thing. Yeah. He said, "You know what? I need somebody, and I think you can pull it out." I said, "Here goes nothing."
The original actor that the directors and those guys had, I think he was from like Pittsburgh or the Northern Ohio area, and then he couldn't make it down. And I said, "Well, I got somebody who I think could maybe even bring you something that you're not expecting. Bring more to the table." So that's when I gave Jaja the ring and More Than Willing. And then the directors were telling me, they were like, "Thank you for bringing him." Like what we saw in the script, he brought it more to life than we could have wanted. So
that's always good. Yeah. The last minute replacement ends up working out a lot better because I've had that happen on stuff that I've worked on.
Yeah.
Where and that's the beauty of independent film is always you got to try to stay somewhat fluid because things are always changing. Right. I do a lot of work with William Lee, who directed 6 Feet Below Hell, and that's I have some friends that are getting involved with him now, and that's the first thing I tell them is never print the script
because it will always change.
Yeah, a couple days before you're to be on set, go on and print your scenes up.
Yeah,
just
never print the script because it will change time and time again.
Right.
Because I learned that the first film I was on with him is I printed the script the first day. I was so excited, and like 2 days later, he's like, "Revised script." I was like, "Really?" So I printed that one. Then he's like, a couple days later, revised the script. And I was like, "I'm not doing this anymore."
We just lived this a little while ago, Dave.
Yeah, I just printed up 150 pages of useless script.
Yeah.
You owe me $10.50.
So yeah, that's you always have to. 6 Feet Below Hell. Again, that first, I keep going back to that because there's so many things that happened on that set and on that shoot that are just kind of normal for independent film anyway, because that's how the character I was in that movie, I was not cast as that. I was cast as another character.
Interesting.
The guy that was cast as that character backed out within 24 hours of having to be on set. So that kind of left William in a situation where he had to either try to write that character out last minute or try to get somebody in or reschedule. Which those are three things you don't want to do. Yeah. So I got a hold of him as soon as I saw that this guy backed out, and I said, "Hey, my character, I'm not filming for 3 weeks. I'll go ahead and step in as this character. It'll give you 3 weeks to recast my spot." Because you got to stay moving.
You're on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And we had so much fun with me as Reggie because, again, just like a lot of independent film, we got on set. We had no access to the set. Mm-hmm. We lost our location because the person that was supposed to let us in was actually passed out drunk inside and didn't unlock the door.
Oh,
so,
wow. That sounds like that.
So we scrambled, and 2 hours later, we have a new filming location. So we pick everything back up. We moved to the new location. Still finished on time that day with everything we wanted to get done. The problem was the script kind of relied on being in that other location. So we had to ad lib my entire scene, which we had so much fun doing that he went back later and kept and because my character was supposed to have like one scene and he was dead.
Oh,
well, he changed it and
lived.
brought me back later in the film.
Nice.
And I come back at the end and get one of the main bad guys.
See, that's when the revised script worked out in your favor.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I wasn't even supposed to be that character.
Actors
So
freedom.
yeah.
That's
We had to, When I love ad libbing stuff. That's just. Do you get to ad lib a lot when you or are your directors pretty much stay on script?
Go ahead, John.
For the problem of evil, I would say they gave me a lot of freedom of the script. You know, they had certain parameters and things that I had to hit, but for the most part, they gave me freedom to make it my own.
That's always
which was
nice.
cool, and I was like, I appreciate that because again, I got casted for this the day before we were shooting, so I was like, this is really cool, and like Dave was saying, it really worked out for the better. You know, it became something that I can use on the side for myself, and then for their project, it ended up being exactly what they wanted it to be, if not a little bit more. So being able to kind of free yourself from the script, and still hitting the same points, I mean, there's nothing better than.
Right. Yeah, because it's having the freedom to, of course, the ad libbing. A lot of times you get.
Express yourself.
Yeah, that's liberating and frightening at the same time.
Mhm.
That's for sure.
Because
What do I say?
Yeah.
What can I say?
whenever for like me, I will do the scene as like they had it written, and then something will pop in my head during the scene, and I say, hey, when we do the second take, can I try something, see if you like it, whatever. And probably 99% of the time they're fine with that, and then they've let me do it, and then they say it fit with the character, like we're going to use that take. So I think it does kind of vary, but I like to be able to kind of bring something new to the character.
Right.
And like we always say, the actor can bring something else to the table that kind of surprises the director, and it could be good for the audience, and that's what the overall goal is. So
Yeah, I've worked with people that want you to stick totally to the
Yeah.
script, and
I
that's
had one of those myself.
yeah.
Oh.
And
Word
then,
for word.
to the opposite end, I'm involved with a couple fellows that do TBTV, which is out on local access, which is a lot of fun. It's a sketch comedy show. Tyler Wise and Brandon Barry put that out, and it's a lot of fun. But the character I get to be, when I first got there, they said, well, here's somewhat of a script, but so long as you hit this point and this point, you can do whatever you want. So the first one I did, I kind of went with what they had on there. But then the next one, I didn't know. They wanted to do, if you go to TBTV, if you search that on YouTube, and you'll find it on there. It's episode 101 where I do, it was called Shacks, which was, I played homeless Jerry, and this was their version of Cribs.
Oh,
But it was Shacks, where I had basically broken into somebody's garage, and that's where I was living. So, well, they told me there were two things that they wanted from that scene, and I was like, okay. And they only wanted that. They didn't tell me they were only going to have it like do like 35 to 45 seconds of this scene. Well, what happened was I got to the location. I started looking around. I was in the garage for about 15 minutes. Absolutely nothing scripted. After about 15 minutes looking through the garage, deciding what I wanted to do, I said, okay, let's shoot. And they followed me around that garage for 45 minutes, almost nonstop, with me just in character being an idiot. And
I'm going to have to check this out.
all they wanted was like 30 to 45
great.
seconds. It ended up being like a 5-minute skit in their show. So that kind of thing was a little nuts, but because that's the total opposite end.
those are
Yeah.
the best times.
You made it work.
Yeah.
You made it work.
But that's my recurring character on that show is Homeless Jerry. I did another one where we did a cooking show called Surviving with Homeless Jerry. And that was I love being able to ad lib and just be in character doing random crazy things.
Right.
And that's a lot of fun, is just trying to stay in character.
Yeah.
Getting to step away from yourself and be somebody else for a little bit.
Yeah, that's acting.
Hey, simple joys.
Yeah. And we're going to take a little break. Let me cue some music up here. Let me get some tunes ready to go. Let's see who we got. I haven't played any Mike O'Connell for a long time. So I'm going to hit this is one of my favorites. This is Baboon Heart.
When I was 5, they gave me a baboon heart. When I was 23, you tore it apart. It didn't hurt me, it didn't mean a thing. But somewhere there's a baboon, and he's crying. He's crying, how's that make you feel? Well, you can tell me I'm fat, I'm dumb, I'm bad and bad, but it won't hurt me, it'll hurt the baboon instead. And don't come crying to me when Peter knocks down your door. You deserve what you get, you primate hating whore. You're a whore. And those tears that are falling down my face, they're for the baboon. He loved you very much, and he hopes you change your mind soon. He misses your legs, and he misses your lips. He misses your touch, and he misses your tss, especially your tss. Did I mention your tss? But he hopes you change your mind soon. He hopes you change your mind soon. I hope you change your mind soon. I meant to say he hopes you change your mind soon. But remember one thing, as long as I live, you can't hurt me 'cause you got a baboon heart. You can hit on it and tear it apart. You can do just whatever you want to do. You'll only be hurting that poor baboon, 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 baboon. But you still won't care.
There's a reason they call them lazy Sundays. There's nothing better than sitting around and enjoying the comforts of a good book. But what book should that be? Well, every Sunday, Eventide brings you The Bookseller, hosted by Jessica Gillen. Each week, Jessica breaks down a different book and tells you everything you need to know before cracking it open and getting lost in a whole new world. Tune in every Sunday for The Bookseller with Jessica Gillen, brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Hey, I almost missed it. We came back on the air, and I almost missed it. We just almost had the radio silence, and that's
a no-no.
Oh man, I'm ashamed of myself. I've never made a mistake on this show before. That's that was my first one.
Hey, happens to the best of us, right?
You know, within the last 5 minutes, that was the first one. Because we weren't on the air. We were just playing a song.
One job.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, do we have some news stories? Do we want to cover some news stories, or do you guys got more films you're working on? Or
There is actually a project that we are.
Well, that's
really
better
involved
than
with.
news stories. So we'll
right.
go on with that.
It's called Eagles Eclipse, and it is an independent film that Jaja and myself that we are a part of with a lot of talented folks, and it's a vigilante film, so something a little different.
Yeah.
So it's I play the character Dwayne and one of the heroes, and I'll let you speak.
So first and foremost, let's not discredit the fact that Dave here wrote this film.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
he
So we
is-
know how
Thank
he got
you.
cast.
He is the
what-
producer, so let's give him kudos here first.
Yeah, we know how he
thank
got
you.
cast.
Fair
It
enough,
always
that's
helps.
what-
It always helps.
It does. It does.
So myself, I play the role of Xavier, who happens to be something of a sibling to Dwayne.
Yeah,
And,
we're brothers. We're
yes.
brothers. Can't you
Okay,
tell?
so something of a sibling.
I know.
something of a
I know all you
sibling.
people on the radio
Okay.
can see that we look like brothers.
Right. You can hear it though, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
And
But
then
Jaja and I have the same last name. So.
You got me there.
So I
You
guess
got
by
me.
affiliation, we both go to the same family reunion. And,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Same old, same old. And then I also play another one of the heroes that work side by side to Dwayne's.
Yeah. So that's where the name comes from. Eagle and Eclipse. Those are the names of our characters.
Oh, okay. So you're like
Team Eclipse.
superheroes.
Yeah, we're like, I don't want to say Batman and Robin, but we're the same. You know, we work together, and it
So
all.
is this like a superhero movie?
It
or
is.
it- okay,
If you
okay.
want, I brought the bio with me so I could read that. If that makes it easier.
Much more.
I
Batman,
don't.
Nightwing
Yeah,
than
I
Batman,
don't
Robin.
know. Okay.
It's
You just don't want to be Robin. is
You're
what
right.
it is. I
Those
don't
tights,
blame
I'm
you.
not,
No.
I'm not rocking it.
And that- when I
don't
wrote
blame
it-
you. There's something wrong with that whole dynamic.
when I
to,
wrote it with actually my acting coach. I'll give a shout out to Steve Francia. Check out Cincinnati Actor Studio. He helped me write it, and you know how we talked earlier about the revision process and how you keep going on and
Right.
keep revising. That's what happened, and he really helped me to limit the revising, and that's
Lots
a good
of paper
thing.
on that project.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, with the process of the film, what's been really cool working with Jaja, we filmed 2 days so far. We start at the beginning of December, and Spencer Kerrigan is actually the director, brought him on board. He's really excited about it. He's done a really phenomenal job bringing everybody kind of on board. We've worked together well as a team, and with Jaja, we've been really like taking this role seriously, where we have a choreographer so we can learn. We want to really learn. We don't want to find stunt doubles.
Right.
We want
You
to
wanna
be
do
these
the
people.
actual fight scenes. And,
Exactly.
Throw it on the resume, you know.
Right.
do
Oh
something
yeah.
For ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we do our workouts, our lifting and stuff like that, I've been looking at a lot of course, Ben Affleck's Batman workouts, because I've been trying to bulk. And you don't like bulking if you haven't been bulking before, but if it's for the character, I want to look
I've
big on
balked
camera.
But most of my bulk is in the midsection right now. That's I do a lot of sit-ups to get all this muscle. right
Christmas
here.
needs Santa, man. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
good. Well, this is all muscle. This is
the
I'm
one pack.
fattening up
The
for
one
a
pack.
roll.
I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
it's a one pack. It's like a keg.
I'm trying to stay away from the midsection. Thanksgiving hurt me a little bit, and
Yeah.
then
Something
Christmas
of a
coming
setback.
up. But that's been the joy for me, is really becoming the character and really trying to learn it. The one thing I've really been trying to get down on is the Vigilante's voice, because I don't want to sound like Batman. I want to have my own voice, but I want to be able to separate the two from.
Sounding like Batman is fine so long as it's not the Christian Bale
Christian
Batman. Because, yeah. Well, he's asthmatic, and I don't like asthmatic superheroes. I mean, it's nothing against people with asthma. It's just they're harder to believe as a superhero.
Yeah.
Alone understand. That's
Right.
yeah.
Batman.
So that's what we've been doing. And sorry, I've said a lot.
No, I mean, it's a good time. So for Dave's character, he's been bulking, to whereas mine, I've been leaning out a lot. I'm like, there's got to be some kind of a contrast between the two of us. So not only will it be in the midst of our character, but it'll be in our physical dynamic.
Right.
And so while we're sitting here playing with, ideas of how we're going to sound, to how we're going to walk, to, I mean, literally, it's really cool to just kind of have the freedom that Dave's given us to really make our characters who they are from the ground up.
So what you're bulking up and you're slimming down, so your special move is you're going to pick him up and throw him like a lawn dart.
I had to make it easy on him. I was like,
guys,
Jaja, you're like 220 pounds. It might be a little difficult. Yeah. And then like taking the hit to the ground might be a little more painful on my end, being a little heavier. So
yeah. No, we've really been working hard. Like I said, I wrote this script in August, and then it just started moving film production beginning of December. So shout out to the cast and crew. They've been outstanding so far, and we're planning to submit this film in film festivals too. So you wrote it.
What's it like being deeply involved as a character when you wrote it, but somebody else directing it? Are there arguments about what you were going for? Are you able to step back and let the director just do his job?
That was what was so cool, is that when I wrote it, of course, I presented it to Jaja, my acting coach, first, and got their opinion. And we all had the same kind of idea. Superheroes, of course, they are corny. Like, we know that's what they are. But we wanted this to be the Dark Knight type of feel. We wanted it to be a serious thing where it wouldn't get made fun of.
Right. You didn't want a campy
superhero
with a goofy catchphrase and
all that.
Yeah.
So that's what we went for. The director read it, and Spencer, he loved it from the start. He had the same vision as me. Sure, when we're on set, like he mentioned something, I said, that's exactly what I was thinking. But when we talk on set, sure, we have other ideas. But the good thing, like I said, about the teamwork, we all listen to one another's ideas, and we come up with what we think is best for the film.
Right.
That's like we say, it doesn't matter what the shot was here, as long as what goes down is what's best to show what we're presenting. So it's weird to have someone else directing the film, kind of, but I do trust everybody in the cast and crew. Jaja was the casting director, and so he found phenomenal people for it. I like to give responsibilities to other people and watch us all connect as one. So.
Right. Well, that's the neat thing about filmmaking. It's a collaboration of everybody's efforts and everybody's ideas and thoughts, because each actor has their own concept of the character, and so I was just wondering how, because I know with me, if it was something I wrote, I'd be I'd have a hard time letting go and let somebody else direct it.
It's also like being a vigilante. Like I said, I'm trying to go for that dark feel. I don't want to go out of character to try to direct either. Like, you know what I mean? That back and forth, if it needs to be done, of course. But I like to really make sure when you see who I am on screen, you believe that's who I am. And I think having a director makes that job 1,000 times easier now for me as an actor.
Yeah. If you wrote it and tried to act and direct, that would have its own challenges.
Yeah.
Because sometimes too much control isn't good for a film either.
Sure, yeah. We've seen that happen.
But it's good you have a director that you trust enough to put your baby in his hands and say, here,
let's make this happen. Yeah.
That's good. That's good to have that kind of trust.
Yeah. Well, I trust everybody, the cast and crew. So that's a big shout out to you guys. Thank you, Jaja, for being part of the film, for leaning up, as we were saying. All the sacrifices, the good foods that you can't eat at the moment.
My heart health also thanks you for it.
That's part of his health program.
Gets us ready for the road to Hollywood.
There you go. Yeah. Because you got to change all the time for
Right.
that.
You never like this. This is a stepping stone to when we make it as established actors out in the industry, to where when they call for these things, we're already doing this for no money. So to do it for money,
Yeah.
we have all the extra incentive.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what's great about even with independent films. Occasionally, there are some that pay you a little bit, and that's what's so great about it. It's like, yeah, I was gonna do it for free, but okay,
Yeah.
This is a nice surprise.
yeah, wow, there's a paycheck with this. I wasn't expecting that at all.
It's like
Yeah.
Christmas in the summer.
And that's the thing with that's the thing with acting in general. It's a love for it. It's. I mean, do we are? Yeah, it'd be nice to be paid big money for it, but
we do it because you love it.
yeah, would we do it any less if we never got paid a dime? No, we'd still do it.
Yeah.
The same amount of intensity. We
We just have to work side jobs that we hated.
That's why we serve tables. And,
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I love my job.
speak for myself.
So no, that's the thing. Working full time is really hard because the comedy thing and
Right.
everything that's going on. It's just so hard to
Balance.
balance. Yeah, well, I have no balance. I'm way off balance.
We're totally right side right now.
I don't even know which side anymore. I go from one side to the other. But it's good to have somebody you trust and have a cast and crew you trust. That's going to make for a good movie because that shows in the final product. I think.
We even had a table read, which is a really cool experience. It was one of those to where you always aren't sure if the entire group is going to make it, but I mean literally from top to bottom our cast made it. Some of us came late, but we all got there.
He's talking about himself there. I want to throw it out there. Go ahead.
It happens to the best of us. But it's just really cool to see everyone and to bring their character to the table read. So it's not like you're just reading words on a page. But one of our cast members is an 8-year-old, Adrian Gordy, and at this moment he is truly he was the best at the table read. I mean, he truly brought his character, and this is his first
Little bit
gig
of acting.
ever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So shout out to Adrian. He did a beautiful job, and for us working next to him, it gives us that little extra to do even better. So,
Yeah, because you don't want to be showed up
By
an
an
8-year-old kid. That's never good.
to piggyback off of that too, like working with people, I think I've worked with pets before, acting wise. I've worked with children, and they're the hardest things to work with. I love children, but
thanks.
Sorry, thanks.
Oh, no, I agree.
They are, and there's a scene. We did all of Adrian's scenes earlier in December, and when I tell you how ready he was with his lines, the way he presented it, he brought something new as an actor to the way his dialogue. And man, like, God bless his heart, that made our job so much easier.
Oh, yeah.
And he lost his attention span a couple of times there, but besides that, he really brought it. And that was my biggest fear, is writing a young boy into the film, but he did it. So now we're past that. Now it's on to
us.
the other. Yeah, now it's on us. Now we got to perform like him.
You got to step it up.
Right.
Now, back when I was performing theater, live theater, I had to work with a couple of preteen boys.
Oh boy.
And I walked away from that production saying I will never work with kids again, because I and the bad thing was the one kid, I wanted to kill him. I wanted to grab him by his throat and shake him until he was done. But his grandmother was in the cast as well.
Couldn't let that go down.
And I had words with her. I had words with her too. I think at one point I said, if you don't whoop his butt, I'm gonna. 'Cause we're getting ready to go on. I'm in a suit and tie. I'm in character. I'm backstage. And he's got a mouthful of brownie and comes up to me and goes, pfft.
Oh man.
Oh.
Was your character evil?
And then he took off running, but I had a handful of hair. He didn't make it very And then his grandma starts in on me. It's like, well, you need to do something about it because I'm going to kill him if he does this again. We're ready to go on stage. Now I got chocolate on my shirt, on my tie, and in my face. I'm going to kill him. And no, I will never work with, I really don't want to work with children after that.
You're right for his grandma.
Yeah,
will do
exactly. Exactly. Tell you what, I'll pick his skinny butt up and beat you to death with it for not beating his. How about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I won't work with kids or their grandparents.
Understandable. Brownie on a
Just
suit
a-
make me do it too.
Just a bad experience right there. Now the other kid that was in it, he was actually able to act. The one that did that with the brownie, he couldn't act his way out.
Right.
He was bad. The other kid was okay. He was just, of course, both of them together. I just wanted to smack their heads together about
You get
18,
those.
20,000 times.
Yeah, you know.
Man.
There are some that comes natural to at such a young age, and there are
Yeah.
some that, just couldn't
Well,
care less.
filming would probably be a little different because you could do more takes. You can take them
That's
behind the
true.
scenes and smack them in the head, calm them down a little bit, and then you can try to film. But on live theater, you can't
One
you
hit
can't
wonder.
beat them on stage.
No.
You know?
That's funny
just
because I know that live theater it is one take, but Adrian, I think he messed up once and it was his second take, and it was something simple as he didn't walk far enough. He didn't mess up at all either. That was the great
Yeah.
thing. He did not mess up.
See, that young man's got a future then. Yeah.
He's in acting classes now. So
Oh, good.
It was interesting. Before the day of his shoot, so his acting class is an hour before ours. So I came early once, and I saw him in there with his acting coach working on our script. I was like, of all the things that
Cool.
you could have been working on, he was working on his lines. And, his coach said, hey, would you come in and sit in and, read your lines with him and make it work? And I was like, this is so cool to see how dedicated he was to this project.
Well, that's good. That's good because a lot of times, even on set, a lot of times you'll have people that they think they're ready and they're off screwing around.
mhm.
If somebody's putting their trust in me as an actor, I mean, I don't think I'm a phenomenal actor, but I'm going to do everything I can to
Right.
do. And I'm going to, when I'm not currently filming, if there's nothing else going on, I'm going over my lines. If we're
It's the
getting
right thing
ready
to
for a
do.
scene,
Right.
I'm going to grab the other actor. We're going to start going over lines because that's how you present yourself as a professional individual that actually wants to do something correctly rather than somebody that's just there to goof around. Because I was on one set that they were filming 3 weeks before I was on set, and in 3 weeks they got practically no footage done because it was filming at night after a bar closes. So there's about probably 3 of the people in the cast would get there early, and they'd get drunk, and by the time the bar closed, they'd be too drunk to shoot. And
Oh, that's horrific.
yeah, and that was a bad thing, is because they were the director's friends,
Yeah.
and they were the people that owned the bar. They were their friends, so it's not like you can fire them from it, but at the same time,
You need
if you have to for the production, or it's never going to get done. And incidentally, that film never got finished.
Don't drink and act, ladies and
Go
gentlemen.
fi- yeah,
don't
don't
drink and
drink
act.
and
That's
That's the same advice for stand-up comedy. It doesn't help.
No.
Because when I first started, I'd have a couple beers before going up, and then one time I had way too many. They kept putting the show back. They kept postponing it and putting it back several hours, so that by the time I actually got on there, I had about 10, 12 beers in me. And I didn't do terrible. It's just I got about halfway through, and I started to repeat the same thing. And it was a cancer benefit where I was performing, and I started to repeat a joke I'd already gone over, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. This is a cancer benefit, not Alzheimer's." And
you made it work.
that was how I ended my set
You made it work.
somehow.
Yeah.
Because you can get away with that at an Alzheimer's.
Right.
You can have a 5-minute set and just do it 3 times. They think you got 15 minutes of material. You're good.
Yeah.
That's not right.
That's great.
But no, it's always good to work with people that are professional in what they do and take it seriously, because again, it's your baby. You
Yeah.
wrote this. This is your
That's actually what I told Spencer before he became the director, and what I told the cast members too. I said, look, we're all friends. We all do, like, the first thing is to have fun, of course. Second is to make a great film. I was like, no, we're not going to be strict the whole time, but I want to run this as smoothly and in the right direction as possible. We're not here to joke around, do this and that. We're making a film. So you got to have the friend level, but you got to be able to bring it to the professional level. And I feel like there's not an in-between. So right now I'm at the friendly level. When me and Jaja are on set, we're both professional. We're telling each other, hey, try this, do this. You did this and that. Did you notice? It's all about bringing the film to life. So,
and these are the things that we got to enjoy when we worked on The Problem of Evil. Was we would watch each other because at times we would be on set together, but there would also be times where I would stand off and it would be his scene, and because of Cincinnati Actor Studio, we were able to pick up on little things like our isms, for lack of a better word, and I would see Dave do his piece, and I'd say, "Hey, you did your thing." He's like, "Oh, shoot, sorry, thanks."
It helped me correct it. Hopefully that's the take they use, the corrected take.
Right. We'll find out here next fall.
But
that another thing with film is you always have to wait to see how it was.
Yep.
Live theater, everything's instantaneous. You screw up, you know it.
Right. It's always good when your cast and crew are willing to, give you the constructive criticism to make the scene even better.
Right.
Because
constructive being the key word.
Oh, man.
Criticism, that's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
You sucked. What?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
well,
you.
How do I make it not suck as much?
Figure it
That's
out.
what we need.
Help me help this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Constructive criticism, and that's most people that offer criticism forget the constructive part.
Right.
They just want to tell you how bad something is without bothering to say, here's what would make it better.
Right. So wait, Dave, you were going to read the bio for Eagles Eclipse, if I'm not mistaken.
Would you like?
Yeah,
me?
well, go ahead. We got a couple minutes before we got to take a break.
So this is the bio. You guys can we're going to start posting behind the scenes things too on Facebook, so you can follow that at Eagles Eclipse. So the bio is: after years of defending his city, Walter can no longer be the masked vigilante. Passing down the mantle to his two sons, Dwayne and Xavier, the two continue finding ways to protect their city from those seeking to take it. So it's a generic bio, but more to come.
Dum dum dum.
Yeah, it's exciting. It'll be.
Yeah, that's I'm hooked now.
Okay.
Sorry, I was checking a message.
No.
I still heard you.
Yeah, I heard you.
Still.
I was just,
No, it's fine.
That's all right. No, it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait
It's been a lot of fun.
Can't wait to get to see some of it.
Keep you in the loop. I'll probably try to come back on the show when it's getting closer to finishing. Yeah.
All right. I wonder what we're being filmed, or if she's just. I think she's lost. It's okay.
I mean, I know it's cute, but I appreciate it.
It happens. I'm not used to people filming at the window when there's not a giant panda in here. There's last week, Mike Canistero was in here as a local comic, and he does a character named Pandy Kaufman.
Oh.
And he is actually in a panda suit. And when he comes on the radio as Panda Kaufman, he has the head on, which is this big giant panda head, and he sticks the microphone up underneath it, so it gets the same echo as it does when he's on stage. So it's just funny, the reactions of people walking past the window when there's this big panda head staring back. So it's been a lot of fun having you. We're going to have to take a break. Do you have any social media, any websites, anything you want to throw out for yourself or the movies coming up? Or
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles Eclipse on Facebook, like I just said, go ahead and like that, follow us there. And then I'm still Champ Moore on Facebook. And then on Instagram, I am Champ_Moore. And you can follow me for funny videos and just to kind of catch up, see what I'm doing. The book that I talked about last time, I'm finding a publisher right now, so stay in tune with that also.
Jaja Smith, Jaja.Smith on your Instagram. And then, of course, if you want to follow me on Snapchat for the latest updates on behind the scenes for Eagles Eclipse, that is J Smeezy 513. That was back from my rap days when I did a couple shows in Mad Frog. So,
We'll leave that buried.
Now,
I still got bars.
how do you spell Smeezy?
SMEEZY.
Okay. Just as you would think.
It's stuck for a little while.
Smeezy, you never know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're sneezing, but it's all good.
Smeezy. Sorry. I got to get a Kleenex, and we got to take a break.
It'll change eventually.
Yeah. Well, you got to get.
You
Don't
try.
like it. Just keep it that
Try
way.
again. You know, the same old.
Well, thank you, Don, for having us on the show
Definitely.
again.
It's been a
good
pleasure.
time.
It's good to meet you, Jaja. Good
Likewise.
to have you back, Dave.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing some of your projects out there.
We'll keep you in the loop, and
yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
definitely be back. We
Absolutely.
will.
For sure.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't fire me at the end of this. At the end of this episode, you never know.
Stay tuned.
Got Holly coming on. Holly Shock's coming on next, and she can be a little. She brings out the worst in me, actually, which is so much fun.
Right. Never a dull moment.
Exactly. All right, we're going to take a little break, and I'm going to kick these guys out, and we'll be back here shortly with the legendary Holly Shock. Thanks for listening to the Life Podcast. Check us out on Eventide Entertainment's Podcast Network. Remember, if you want to listen live, we're on Wednesdays from noon to 2 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can always stream the show live at wwsu1069.org. If you have suggestions or comments for the show, feel free to email us at thelife1069@gmail.com.
Presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
I'm ashamed of myself. I've never made a mistake on this show before. That was my first one.